Hey everybody, welcome to the DDC Studios YouTube channel. This is Dave Hayner, owner and publisher of DDC Studios, and today's video is going to be part 2 of the secret origin of DDC Studios. Something a lot of people have been asking me to do, so I really hope I'm not boring everybody, regaling you with the story of my 20 plus year journey to get to where we are right now. But before we continue that story, of course, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. If you do like what you're listening to, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. And if you are really enjoying the show, definitely hit that like button. And as always, please feel free to leave a comment down below. As Dylan and I love to get all kinds of feedback, both good and bad, because it helps us try to improve this YouTube channel for all of you folks. Okay, with that said, let's get part 2 of the secret origin of DDC Studios underway here. If you remember from our last video a couple of days ago, pretty much I ended it with me essentially discovering mini-comics for the first time, and actually getting my hands on numerous mini-comics at my very first trip to the Iowa Comic-Con, or the Icon as we call it. So we're going to flash forward about a year, pretty much to the turn of the century, around the year 2000. I actually move in with my buddy Ross, and at about this time, a couple of interesting things happened. One, us being nerds, we played role-playing games, and through a weird series of events, a character of mine by the name of Mindbender managed to get himself blown up. And that started a kind of an inside joke between the three of us nerds. Mindbender goes boom. Well, that kind of led to the idea of us possibly starting our own image-like publishing banner called Mindbender Goes Boom. Because all three of us kind of had ideas that we've been kind of slowly percolating for some comic ideas. Well, Ross was really the first one to pull the trigger, for obvious reasons. He had been working on this black or white mini comic for a few years now, but he just was not happy with the way the direction of the book had taken him. So he was really looking to reboot it and do it in a little more professional manner. So he approached me to help him reboot it, because we were living together and we were also working at Godfather's Pizza together as delivery drivers. So taking his mini comics and using them as basic plots, at least for the first issue, I actually scripted out a new issue number 1 that kind of streamlined things a little bit more, added a little more action to it, and so on and so forth. And then Ross penciled it, and I was going to ink it, and then Ross would get the pages back, and he would take care of lettering them on the computer. Now bear in mind, these are the very early days when scanners are just barely decent enough to scan in artwork, and you're laying in letters basically with a glorified word processor. But hey, for super small press comics, it was good enough. We also decided to take things a step further, and we were producing it magazine sized. Because as anybody that knows me, my patron saint of comic books has always been Drew Hayes of I, Lucifer and Poison Elves fame. And that's how he started doing I, Lucifer, which became Poison Elves, when he was self-publishing it under the Mulehide Graphics banner or name. It was 8.5 by 11 inch magazine-sized comics. So we decided to give it a try, because we found out that the Kinko's in Des Moines could actually handle those big pieces of paper we need to do it. So for the next 2 months, Ross and I had the same routine. We'd wake up just in time to start our evening shift at Godfather's driving delivery. We drive delivery for anywhere from 6 to 7 hours, just taking pizzas and getting tips. as soon as we get off work, we'd bring our free gratis pizzas home that we were allowed to make. We'd eat our pizza, and then we'd set to work working on this comic. And we would work on it, basically until the sun came up. When the sun came up, that was kind of our reverse alarm clock that told us to, basically, it was time to go to bed. So we essentially became nocturnal for a couple of months. We were already night owls, so it really wasn't that hard of a feat to accomplish. And after 2 months was over, we actually had the finished comic book you're seeing the cover of right there, and a few of the pages that I've kind of shown off while I've been jabbering on here. But unfortunately, that's kind of where the trouble started between Ross and I. Not personally, we stayed close friends, but professionally speaking, I guess you'd say we had the world's most polite fallout. Ross, in his haste to kind of get the book done, I had needed to do a few ink corrections that he took upon himself to just handle with a Sharpie marker. And, I was not happy about that, and he had changed some of my dialogue around during the lettering process, which once again did not make me happy, as I didn't feel the changes were made for the better. So, we still released the book, and basically printed a few copies, but nothing really came out of it. But hey, it was my very first comic. So, as embarrassed as I am about this puppy, it still holds a very special place in my heart. But where it gets really significant is the ad that we kind of threw together last minute to put in the book to fix the page count, because we needed one extra page to keep it at the increments of 4. So we decided to whip up a really quick ad for the comic book idea I had for a mini comic, and yep, there you go. It is Dillard. Yes, this was the very first version of Dillard. I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler alert for this series. Dillard went through many iterations before he became the property that you all know today. The only thing that basically stayed the same was I always had the idea of doing a comic book about the world's greatest comic book collector. And other than that, and a few of the character designs, pretty much everything would change. This iteration of Dillard was actually going to be more done in the style of Peter Bag's Hate, if you will, or American Splendor, two comics that had a really big influence on me as well. So it was going to be more slice of life based on true stories and things of that nature. But kind of getting back to the deal with Ross, unfortunately, the first issue of Black or White was the only comic the two of us actually produced. We did begin work on issue 2, but after only a couple of pages, we both, well, quite frankly, we were starting to get a little snippy with each other, I guess you would say. So we thought it was best to maybe part ways. But because of that parting of the ways professionally, at about that same time, something really, really interesting happened. And that's a Des Moines trip that my other buddy Chad and I took with his wife when she was up in Des Moines for a job interview. And it was the birth of a comic idea that to this day I still absolutely love. And with that, we're actually going to end today's video. Part 3 will be the, I guess you'd say, the background of the next step of my journey into creating DDC studios. So with that said, I want to thank you very much for listening. As always, if you're interested in picking up any of the DDC Studios comic library that's currently in print, just hit that link below where you can also get original art and commission original art sketch cards. You can also check out our TeeSpring store where we have 3 official DDC Studio t-shirts for sale for $20 a piece, and they're available in every size. And also, as always, feel free to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And so that's gonna, I think, do it for today's video, but we will have another video coming up here in just a couple more days. So thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Bye.